Thank you. Thank you very much, Miroslav, for inviting us here at the Digital Innovation Hub at COP27. This is a really interesting hub because it's a collaboration between the Climate Change Coalition, GLOCHA, IAAI, and other partners. So we are very honored to be able to be here today to talk about the um, Climate Change Coalition and its new 5-year strategy and the launch of its labs. So, Miroslav, could you tell us a little bit about the hub, the pavilion, and the Climate Change Coalition? And then we'll introduce Tom Bauman.
Bravo. Thank you very much, Catherine. Hi, everyone. Greetings from Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, COP27. As Catherine has said, this is the Digital Innovation Pavilion. It's a space for digital solution providers to come and to present what they have in terms of ideas and innovations and solutions and approaches that will help the global community to effectively implement the Paris Agreement. And yeah, so digital solution providers come together with climate action community, global climate governance community, and this space has been is hosted by IAI GLOCHA, Austria-based civil society organization, and the Climate Change Coalition, which we are a proud founding member of. And we have partners, wonderful partners like the Global Sustainable Digital Finance Alliance, and we have co-hosts like Unique Network, NFT platform for the Polkadot and Kusama blockchain ecosystem, and then we have the HBAR Foundation, and we have the Carbon Market Exchange and Sustex, and a wide range of event partners. And we are quite happy how positive the participants here of the COP respond to our offers, and also we have this virtual participation because digital innovation, one of the big contributions of this is to enable virtual participation, open up the process. And Tom Bauman, our friend across the big lake, he is also virtually with us. And happy to have everyone here, and giving back to Catherine and to Tom.
Thank you. I actually should have introduced myself as Catherine Foster, the Executive Director of the Green Digital Finance Alliance and a long-time member of the Climate Change Coalition. We're very honored to be partnering with the Climate Change Coalition and with the Hub. So with that, I just want to pass it over to Tom to talk us through a little bit about the Climate Change Coalition, its history, and where we're going.
Thanks very much, Catherine and Miroslav. The background information on the pavilion and how we came here. It's fantastic to see the development of the pavilion and its launch yesterday at COP27, and I'm sure it's going to be a feature going forward in future COPs because it provides such huge value for stakeholders. Not only people that have the opportunity to get into COP, but the many other stakeholders who would like more options to keep pace with what's happening at COP and to share more information. I want to say first, hello from Ottawa, Canada. I'm joining remotely. My name is Tom Bauman, and I chair the Climate Change Coalition. I've been fortunate to be working with Miroslav as strategic director and also with Catherine Foster for many years, and thrilled that today we'll be launching the first in the series of new climate change labs. The Climate Change Coalition was founded 5 years ago, and we are celebrating our 5th anniversary here at COP27, or there at COP27. And during those years, the CCC grew from an initial 12 organizations who founded it to over 360 organizations now in 69 countries. So truly a global and multi-stakeholder network for stakeholders wanting to use emerging technologies, including blockchain, but others like IoT and artificial intelligence and so on, to support transformative and ambitious digital climate innovations to achieve the Paris Agreement. When we first started, the CCC structure followed very much the ethos of blockchain and emerging technologies, meaning very decentralized, very distributed, and coalition members could self-organize into member-driven initiatives. And we saw many of those around key issues or regions, such as Latin America or Asia Pacific and Europe. But with COP27, and it being our 5th year anniversary, we did a thorough stock take of the membership through a number of surveys on strategies and priorities to help develop a new strategy that would guide us on our path forward. And one of the key innovations that is part of our new strategy is the development of climate change labs. And these labs are a new feature in our program of activities that will help more structure and enable more effective management of members collaborating on shared activities, shared interests and activities. So for example, whether it's research, developing any of the frameworks or standards that would support, as well as some of the sort of basic activities of capacity building, awareness raising, and then all the way to mobilizing resources that can help advance pilots from proof of concept and pre-commercial into the marketplace. And so this figure that's up on the screen presents a 3-step process. So the first step on the left, the networking, where the coalition has been a big tent with hundreds and hundreds of members across those 360 organizations, coming in to get to meet others, not just digital solution providers, but actually some of the users, researchers, government, industry, and so on, to form some of these relationships, get some information. That has been a open and free access for organizations to join. That's now being complemented with the development of labs. And during COP27, we're going to launch 3 labs. And today we're starting with digital finance, which is the most, or I should say, the top priority among the membership. And there's other very high priorities as well, but digital finance, it has grown to overtake mitigation, for example, as a top priority amongst the membership. And so we're thrilled to have a partnership taking shape now with Catherine Foster as Executive Director at the Green Digital Finance Alliance as the lead partner with us in creating a digital finance lab that is truly representative of the diversity of interests for using digital finance in the context of climate in particular. And there's just so many ways that it could be used. There's so many innovations, but really bringing together all of those evolving elements, as Catherine and I like to phrase it, as synergizing or integrating, and then being able to amplify those activities. That's one of the major goals of these labs for each of the topics that they are going to be focusing on. And so for today, we are starting the conversation on why are we doing this lab, and Catherine can provide ample overview evidence of what's happening in digital finance, more broadly for green, but also in climate, and what is the rationale for this digital finance lab? What are some of the challenges that we can tackle? Who can we be working with? And start to convey an outline of our roadmap or work plan for the coming months as it relates to digital finance. So very excited that we have this opportunity in the pavilion to start this, make this launch announcement and start the process of formulating these climate change labs over the course of COP27. I hope I've come through loud and clear for everyone there. I'm not sure if I was put on mute on the other side because of the noise, so I will ask Miroslav, is it all loud and clear so far?
Thank you, Tom. We heard you loud and clear and are really pleased to have had you join us, at least virtually. Wish you were here in person, but the spirit of the Climate Change Coalition is strong. We have a number of members walking around COP27 and doing much more than walking. They're actually, walking the talk, as they say. They are implementing, they are collaborating and creating synergies across solutions. And that's exactly what we want to do here with the Climate Change Labs. And as you said, for me, the Climate Finance Lab is a really important step, because I think what we've seen over the last few years with the emerging technology agenda is, and the solution space, is that it has been a very fragmented solution space. And there's been silos between the emerging technologies coming out of the finance sector. We talk about fintech, for example. And then we have green finance, which hasn't really fully digitized, but has like the frameworks and the tools that we do need to scale up. And then on the other side, we have this incredible ecosystem with the Climate Change Coalition. As you said, I think over 360 members now that are building out various solutions for emerging technology for climate and sustainable development. And it is such, as you said, it's diverse. It's across regions, it's across demographics, it's across sectors, and also business models. We have every type of business model that is imaginable. We have nonprofits, for-profits, we have other networks. So it's a network effect that we're looking for here. And what I really hope that we can do with the climate lab, with the Climate Finance Lab, is actually, as you said, make synergies between those solution spaces, across those sectors, across those silos, really integrate new models, bring people together for that type of collaboration, and scale the impact. This doesn't necessarily mean that we're scaling one or two solutions specifically. It's about scaling the integrated impact.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Catherine. Just to highlight some of those solutions that are coming forward, like DeFi and ReFi technologies for digital assets and tokenization. Now I think pretty firmly established digital green bonds, whether that's for smart cities like Evercity is doing as an example, and just the need to mobilize more finance, do it more rapidly and effectively, meaning, for example, how can the quantity of finance be mobilized into climate actions, but also result in a more equitable outcome? And so that whether it's new sort of wealth that's being generated by positive climate actions, shared more equitably across stakeholders, whether that's developing countries or anywhere in the world, and to better provide more tools to enable the climate entrepreneurs, as well as citizen and youth stakeholders as well, to help monetize actions that have been thus far outside of effectively compensated as important elements of the as change agents for transforming more rapidly the transition to a net zero state.
No, absolutely. And I think that speaks to the ecosystem that we have, the incredible network we have. And one of the dialogues that we've been having at the Hub today is about multi-usages of the data sets and of the technologies that we're seeing here, because often they've sort of grown out of one core sector or one core use case. And this is what we want to be able to do, is to say, actually, yes, we can now layer that up into financial solutions, into investment solutions, into frameworks, into reporting frameworks, etc. So to me, this is really the opportunity to do that. And this lab, in terms of how it's going to be governed, how it's going to be run, we're still in sort of the stage of actually ideating around that. And I think we welcome core members of the CCC to come forward and help us develop the programs and what we want to accomplish, as well as how we're going to accomplish that. What I like to think of is this is sort of a think do tank, and that it's going to be user driven, it's going to be member driven.
Yeah, I agree. Having an agile, almost evergreen process of ideation, because we want to have some stability with the work plan, but inherently into that process is to welcome more and more of these participants. So give it an example. I know COP27 has been very closely associated with the issue of adaptation, resilience, loss and damage, and climate justice. Often the focus on finance has been primarily mitigation, which is understandable to try to avoid making the problem any worse. However, there's an obvious need to better address adaptation, resilience, loss of damage, and so on. And so how to bring in some of the areas of climate that aren't as built up, they're at an earlier stage within a cohesive framework, because climate is, SDG number 13, and it needs to be cohesive and consistent with the rest of the SDGs and beyond climate. So I think that's a really important advantage or benefit of the GDFA, is that it has this larger scope, right? And that climate is what we develop needs to have consistency with the rest of sort of the green ledger and green activities.
Absolutely, thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Miroslav.
May I just briefly come in and say, introduce Arwood from the Climate Action Special Interest Working Group from Hyperledger Foundation. I just thought it would be good to have you here also some in this space and in this moment where we talk about collaboration of the Climate Change Coalition on this climate finance topic, but also demonstrating that the whole Climate Change Coalition is an open network coalition, and that we are very welcome to join forces also with your network, which has been also co-founded by Tom. And I thought it would be good to give you the floor also to say a few words about this topic where you see synergy potentials.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, definitely. My name is Sherwood Moore. I run the Climate Action and the Community Special Interest Group. And I was very interested to hear about the financial focus, a new initiative around finance. The work that we're doing at the SIG is focused around supply chain decarbonization. And so what we're interested in doing is creating a more efficient marketplace for environmental data, so that consumer demand, government regulation, and green finance can work together in order to make it more attractive for corporations to adopt technologies to decarbonize their supply chains. If you decarbonize their supply chains, we no longer have a problem. So very interested to hear about the Green Finance Initiative, and interested in exploring more. And this is one of those things where I just kind of got by and heard about it, and familiar with Tom and Catherine, and so really excited to explore possibilities. Yep.
Thank you, Sherwood. Go ahead, Tom. It looks like you were going to respond.
Sure. I mean, it's fantastic that Sherwood's there. I wish another person I could meet face to face. We've done so many video meetings and these types of events, and Hyperledger is one of the larger communities in terms of blockchain technologies. When we did our CCC member stock take, I think Hyperledger came in as one of the more common or popular technologies. And so it's obviously a very important community for the coalition to be working with. In terms of supply chain decarbonization, of course, getting that climate action accounting in place, all of the data is going to be essential, because that decarbonization, we want that to be economically efficient when it comes to decarbonization, and also a just transition as well, because it's more than simply carbon accounting, right? There's people involved, there's economies, and we need to do it cost effectively and in the smartest way possible. And I think that's where an overlap with digital finance is an obvious opportunity to cooperate on supply chains, which happen to be one of the priority areas of the Climate Change Coalition, in addition to industry and energy and so on. And so in terms of the types of tools within the scope of the Climate Change Lab for Digital Finance, that will be a focus. I think knowing that part of the Linux Foundation community is at COP27, so open source, climate, and their focus on finance is another excellent opportunity to show the synergies that are obviously there to be able to work together in creating these integrated solutions across different communities, blockchain technologies, and the different applications.
Yeah, thank you. And so glad you were able to pop in. It's great to have you here as well. And I think, Tom, you touched on something that I just wanted to come back to. We only have a few minutes left, but I think what's really important about this network and about what I hope that GDFA can bring to the table is as the director of GDFA, what I want to do is be able to address the key challenges and barriers we're also seeing scaling up finance for climate and SDG solutions. And I think a lot of that knowledge is coming from your network. And I wondered if you could say a few words about that.
Is that to me? I wasn't sure if that was to me or to Sherwood.
Yes, sorry, that was for you and for Sherwood if he wants, but go ahead, Tom.
Well, the organizations that the Climate Change Coalition has bridged to, so for example, the Interwork Alliance, which is now part of the Global Blockchain Business Council, or over to ANAPA, they have groups inside those big initiatives that focus on issues like finance or trade or supply chains, and the same within Hyperledger as well. They have special interest groups for those areas, those issues as well. And so how to connect to those initiatives, not within the coalition, but through our linkages to those communities, primarily through online participation, whether that's social networks, and then having, as you said, Catherine, and there are so many people from the coalition that are at COP27. Members that are at COP27, likewise that are members in these other initiatives. So how to identify our members and their associations with those networks to optimize that flow and cooperation so that it's efficient and as synergistic as possible.
Thank you. Absolutely. And then just to drop a few of the ideas that we've been discussing about what the lab will be able to do and offer, because we're going to have a very lean structure and approach, and it's going to have to be community driven. But it also will be demand driven by understanding the opportunities and from the GDFA network and from the Climate Change Network as well. So I think, we were discussing having online webinars and discussions where we open it up to a broader community. We have workshops within our community. I think we're going to revive a newsletter as well that Alexi Shadran from Evercity had started and created, and offering that also as a way for members to highlight the work that we're doing. And then from GDFA perspective and others, we want to bring in opportunities for thought leadership, for advisory, for building out practical solutions. And that again comes from that sort of cycle of identifying opportunities and barriers and challenges and working together to open up the space and to bridge the various actors that really will make this a dynamic space. It will be virtual, but it will be cross-generational, cross-geographic, cross-stakeholder. I'm really looking forward to working with you on this.
Thanks, Catherine. I think you raised a number of really good points. There's the knowledge products that already organizations like GDFA have been, creating for years, and that the Climate Change Lab for Digital Finance can also contribute to, whether that's updates or extensions, and the member highlights. I think that was a really good point to raise. So, with the Stocktake report, we've distributed some aggregated information looking at our coalition as a whole, but we also have an online member map that's searchable, so that the information that's been summarized in the report is accessible, so that people who would like to search for, let's say, finance, and then an industry sector and look at a particular part of the world, can start to identify who is acting in that space, and then be able to engage in tandem with all of the work that we're laying out for the work program of the lab.
Absolutely, and I'm just thinking, this absolutely aligns with what the UNF Climate Change Global Innovation Hub is doing. So building out the platform or platforms of solutions and opportunities. So I think we're all moving very much in that sort of synergistic approach to actually innovating, and I'm really looking forward to those next steps. I also think we can be sort of not a clearinghouse per se, but an opportunity. One of the structures that I really admire in the EU is like this Horizon grant cycle structure, where they bring stakeholders together on platforms to actually exchange information and identify grants and opportunities to work together. And I think that's something that the Climate Change Coalition is really well placed to do. As you're saying, we have such a robust knowledge base and not just thought leadership, but actual practical application. So I think we have the opportunity there to also serve as that portal for people to come together for funding opportunities for their own organizations or for a collaborative work for the lab itself. So I think we're going to be very flexible and agile and sort of navigate in and around the opportunities that we are sort of paving the ways towards.
Yeah, really excellent point to make. Thank you very much, Catherine. I think that's probably one of the key drivers or benefits that some of the not just Climate Change Coalition members, but other partners, organizations will want to avail themselves and more successfully identify and secure the resources, whether it's the funding grants or other resources as well that are part of the package that will facilitate deployment of these solutions into the marketplace. And on that point, because I know we're running out of time very quickly, I'd like to take the opportunity to express my thanks to Catherine as well, because just as an example, the whole Stocktake report, the strategy process or new strategy, that happened as a result of some grant funding that Catherine was able to help identify and put the coalition in front of, from the Social Alpha Foundation to recognize their contributions, and also from Novosphere Canada, the not-for-profit that matched that funding. And Novosphere is the entity that hosts the Climate Change Coalition as the means with which to be able to participate in some of these official grant applications. So thanks, Catherine, for your consistent contributions through the years and up until today. So that's a great example of how things happen.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Actually, yes, we should do a shout out to Social Alpha Foundation, Jahan and Priscilla, and to everyone else who's contributed to building the Climate Change Coalition into what it is today. And to you in particular, and to Miroslav, honestly, your spirit of collaboration, your hard work, and your incredible knowledge base are really the driving force behind this. And if I can help amplify that in any way, that I'd be very happy to do that. So thank you very much for joining us today. I'll send the last word to Miroslav.
I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, especially also to Tom for having put together this our new strategy as our organizational framework, which will help us to be even more effective in our governance structure and in our cooperative efforts. Yeah, this lab idea, I think that it has high potentials, and we will present also the climate change lab for citizens and youth empowerment on Friday in the afternoon. Please check the agenda for the details. And this new forms of collaboration, this is the precondition for transformative change. It's no time for siloed approaches anymore. We have to be effective on scale, and for this, everyone needs to work together. And Climate Change Coalition, it's the right organization at the right time. And thanks, Tom, for your leadership.
Thank you, Miroslav. Thank you, Catherine. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, Tom.
Bye.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us.